Hello, everyone. Welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Vaj Unique, and today we have one hell of a show for you. So let's go and get it started. Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk. I'm your host, Vaj Unique. Today is a special day. Not only is it our very first episode, but it's also the first show in our three-part series called The ABCs of the Big D. Now, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, the D stands for depression, which is actually a growing problem in our country and world today. Did you know that depression is the leading cause of disability worldwide? Again, I repeat that disability is, excuse me, that depression is the leading cause in disability worldwide. I repeat. And nearly 800,000 people die from suicide worldwide every year, according to bridges2recovery.com. Okay. 300 million are living with depression worldwide, and only about 10% are receiving treatment. Wow. 10% of 3 million people. All right. I'm not going to be a mathematician, but you do the math on that. Now, see, this is exactly why I'm doing this. This is a very serious thing that people don't understand. That's growing daily, daily, daily. 10%. Now, why? Why only 10%? Now, this affects everybody. Okay? Depression affects young people, old people, women, and men. And only 10% worldwide are being treated. And nearly 800,000 people die from suicide worldwide. So I just want to say those numbers again. I want y'all to really think about that. All right? So, which brings us back to the ABCs of the Big D, which I feel is one of the most reasons why it's like this. It's because A, the A stands for awareness. Okay. Most of these people aren't even aware that they are clinically depressed. Now, that's the key word, clinically depressed. So, the first step is understanding what depression actually is. So, what actually is depression? Okay. So now this definition right here is from Webster's dictionary. Okay, Webster's dictionary says specifically a mood disorder that is marked by varying degrees of sadness, despair, and loneliness, and that is typically accompanied by inactivity, guilt, loss of concentration, social withdrawal, sleep disturbances, and sometimes suicidal tendencies. Okay. Mood disorder. Okay. Now, you must also understand that depression can be treated but not cured. Okay. And uh I know it sounds weird, okay? But this has been clinically proven. Okay, we will always experience sad feelings. That's a part of life, okay? It's when we let these feelings shut us down and affect our day-to-day living is when it's crucial. Okay? Remember, it's good to express these feelings. We're all human. Don't let them take hold. So, how do we know when we're just sad or depressed? Okay. And now I'm gonna stop right there because I want you to understand now how do we understand? Because remember, this is why I said this is called the ABCs of the Big D. So this is the ABCs of depression. All right, and that's why this is a three-part series, right? Because today we're going to work on A, tomorrow's going to be B, and well, the next show is going to be B, and then we're going to do C. Okay. Now, depression is different from sadness or grief or bereavement. Okay. Now this is from, like, everything I read you is going to be from studying. This is from psychcharity.org. Okay. Everything that I get is going to be done from research, from doctors, because I'm not a doctor. I do have a degree, but my degree is in film cinematography. Um, and then I guess you could say music would be my minor in engineering. But um, my background is I've been fighting depression myself for over 10 years. Okay, I've literally been to the doctor, been prescribed medication. Okay. So not only am I doing the research, you know, uh, you're listening to somebody who's also there with you, been through it. And, I will elaborate my personal experiences as well as we go on through these episodes. Okay. So just to let you know that I'm not just somebody here that just talking, or somebody that just went and did, some research, and then I'm just here just trying to tell you anything. Okay. So I'm not that person. But like I said, and I'm not a doctor, but I do have a degree. I did take psychology classes. I was a peer counselor at one point in time in my life too before. Um, so 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 that's just a little bit of my background. You know what I'm saying? So you guys don't feel like this, like, who's this guy that's up here saying these things. So you can go check all this information. So any information that I use, I'm going to try to give you the names of these things and maybe post them somewhere in the blog, down there information. But I'm definitely gonna, or if I do, do share the video feed, might put it across the screen, things of that nature. But so I just want you to know that all this is research and documented from actual doctors. Okay. And what I'm about to read off to you right here, again, like I said, this is psychcharity.org. Okay. All right. And it says depression is different from sadness or grief or bereavement. Okay. And that's what we need to understand. Is this is what I was just talking about earlier when I just previously was telling you about how they said that, that it can be treated, but it cannot be cured. Okay. And these are the reasons why, because we are always going to have these feelings. Okay. And the main thing that we're talking about is awareness. So you have to be aware of what is just normal grievance and sadness. Okay, remember, because we're talking about everything is being awareness. So, and anything that you do, you have to remember you cannot help yourself if you're not aware of the problem in the first place. Okay, right? So, depression is different from sadness or grief or bereavement. Okay, we get into relationships. It goes bad. We lose loved ones, it goes bad. You lose the job, it goes bad. Something, things that you lost and you feel that you need, life is not fair, it goes bad. These are natural emotions and and experiences in life that we have to grow with. It's when we let these natural things in life affect how we live is what the real depression is. So, meaning that, so, like this says, for instance, let's elaborate. It says the death of a loved one, loss of a job, the ending of a relationship are difficult experiences for a person to endure. It is normally for feelings and sadness or grief to develop in responses to such situations. Those experiences lost often might describe themselves as being depressed. Might describe themselves as being depressed. But being sad is not the same as having depression. Right? And it's the dot. The grieving process is naturally and unique to each individual and shares some of the same features of depression. Both grief and depression may involve intense sadness and withdrawals from usual activities. They are also different in important ways. Right? Now, that's basically what I just said, right? I mean, yeah, because I did my research too, but this is basically what I just said and what I just elaborated on, almost to the T. So we have to be aware and have the proper mindset to understand it. And the majority of the people, like a lot of things that we do, we're like biased to a couple of things to do. So, to be aware of what you have to be truthful to yourself. Be true to yourself. And if you can't be true to yourself, you got to find that BFF or that person who would be brutally truthful to you. All right. Sometimes that we need to ask. That's why sometimes we have to step out of ourselves and really look at ourselves. So if we can't look at ourselves from ourselves, we have to find others that we feel that are peers or close to us to basically evaluate ourselves and be like, hey man, yeah, you've been slacking or you've been doing this. Kind of like your life manager, like if you're at your job, like hey, you're slacking in your production, you know. So, your friends are like, man, you still having a production. What's going on, man? You ain't the same person. You ain't called me, you ain't kicked it. You know what I'm saying? Because true depression affects you and others around you because, they're trying to figure out what's wrong with you. That's something I had to deal with personally too. Your family level. They think that you don't want to kick it with them and love them because you shut down and don't want to be social and don't want to go nowhere. And, you might some people might just handle it. Some people don't even want to just get out of bed and just lay around all day. Like they just super sick and you know what I'm saying, don't want to go on. Okay, so let's go back and see how these waves are different. It says in grief, painful feeling comes in waves. Okay, often intermixed with positive memories of the deceased. In major depression, mood and our interests, pleasures are decreased for most of 2 weeks. You see, so this is telling you that it's an extra longer period. So when you have feelings like loved ones, like my mother's been gone for almost since 2016, right? This is 2000 and what 21, 6 years, and and I still get hurt. I still cry when I'm alone sometimes, or when I think about my mom or I miss my mom. Um, things of that nature. But like I said, that's normal feelings. That's loved ones that's missed, and then we wipe it off and then we go on living because we'll get back into that because the ones that's not here will want us to go on living and living in a happier state. We always have to remember that. They wouldn't want us sitting here grieving and ruin our lives when they're gone. I want you to understand that too. True loved ones wants us to be happy. I mean, they don't want us to forget them. But living your life is not forgetting somebody. You're living your life for them. And then they can live through you. We always say that they're a part of us. If they're a part of us and we keep on living life, then therefore they are still here. And then we share the things that they teach us, they nourish us. You know what I'm saying? The character that rubbed off on us. You understand what I'm saying? People touch us in more different ways than you actually know. So that's why they say be careful of the company you keep, not because you're also guilty by association, because you can start acting like the people who you're around. So, but anyway, that's a whole nother discussion. But uh, so we as individuals have to watch ourselves and control ourselves, right? So we have to be aware. So back to this is saying for long periods of time. So if you start being upset for 2 weeks or more, and you don't want to do anything, and this is talking about any activities involving intense sadness with withdrawals from usual activities, meaning what do we say? I'm sorry, I just lost my spot. Okay, interest and pleasure. So you would have a major depression, mood or interest in pleasure are decreased for most 2 weeks. Anything pleasurable, okay, In grief, self esteem is usually maintained. In major depressions, feelings of worthlessness and self loathing are common, right? Constantly down and hard on yourself. In grief, thoughts of death may surface when thinking of fantasizing about joining the deceased loved one. But in major depression, thoughts are focused on ending one's life due to feeling worthless or undeserving of living or being unable to cope with the pain of depression. Man, so do you understand that? So like I always used to tell people like, because you think about killing yourself, that doesn't make you crazy. You know, they always try to tell you, oh, think about killing yourself. No, that doesn't make you crazy. People think about that all the time, right? If you see a movie and somebody kills themselves, what do you do automatically? You think about, damn, could I kill myself? Well, hell no, I ain't gonna kill myself. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you think. That's a natural thing, believe it or not. Okay, but like I said, it's when you stay focused and constantly thinking about that, like you're plotting on yourself to end your life. That's depression. And like I said, I've been there. I said I've been to the psych and been given the medicine, but stop that medicine because I don't believe it. But that's going to be something else because, like I said, there is, like I said, it can be treated, but that's how they like to treat it. They like to treat it with medication. Okay. But you can treat yourself through depression. But the first main thing that you have to do is you have to be aware and understand that you're clinically depressed. And a lot of people don't even know that clinically depressed, like I just read to you, is a disability. And you, if it's really stopping you from working, not wanting to work and not be around nobody, that's a disability. So I read that to you guys earlier, right? That's what we talked about. Remember? It's one of the leading claims in disability worldwide. Depression. So you know, it's just something that it's just something that really needs to be discussed and talked about. Because I've had loved ones to me, not on me, that's had kids that has tried to end their life and didn't succeed. Then I know of one who has succeeded, if you want to call it success, since we have to use the words that we use and succeed, because it's not really something to succeed in, but but it's what they did or tried to do. So it's a very serious thing. It's a very serious thing. Okay. Remember the definition and what I said about shutting down. Is it affecting your day to day life? And are you having consistent mood swings? Right? That's what they try to say, bipolar or whatever. Now, let's focus on things that cause depression for now, since we're focused on awareness. Again, right? So, those are my words, right? So, let's focus on these things that we think that are so important that we let affect our lives, right? And I'm just going to use men and female first, and then we're going to go to the kids. Okay. Now, I'm going to start off with men and women because it's always the same thing with us because it's how society has trained us to be, right? A relationship is not going good. I'm unhappy with my job. I'm not making enough money with my job. This looks like a dead end job. I feel like I'm not living up to my full potential. I know it's more to life than this, right? Somebody close to you die. Have no friends. I feel lonely, right? These are all common things. For one, I want you guys to understand that's been subliminally bred into us by society. But nobody wants to be alone, for one. So relationships are hard. But like I said, what are you looking for in the relationship that makes all your relationships bad? I want you to think about that. Because in the end, if we're with somebody who doesn't want to be with us or cheating on us, then you need to leave that person alone. Right? It's the bottom line. If a person is not treating you the way that you want to be treated, and mind you, if you want to be treated a certain way, you should be treating that person as well. You know, like I said, treat others how you want to be treated, right? And then you build a relationship with that individual, and then that matures from there. Then y'all can treat like, you know what I'm saying, y'all can bullshit with the other, play around, or whatever, or whatnot, things of that nature, right? But elementary terms is treat each other nice, right? Period. So if you can't find that person for your definition of being treated nice or fair or whatever, because everybody has different, you know, personalities and characters. So they looking for all totally different type of things, and people who are into the same things that they're into, et cetera, et cetera. But the main thing is what makes relationships bad is if there's no compromise in a relationship, you have to, if you call yourself being in a relationship, men, ladies, youngsters who's trying to learn how to be in a relationship, relationships are about compromise, not having it your way. And if you're having it your way right now, I don't know, you might want to worry about something, because trust me, your significant other is not happy if you're just doing everything your way. They're either finding somebody who's gonna give it to them their way, or it's just they're just faking to be happy and be yes man, and they're really not happy because they really do love you or whatever or whatnot. But you got to understand, relationships are all about compromise. And if somebody is treating you bad, then you need to leave them alone. Now I'm not saying don't give people chances, second chances, because nobody is perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You feel what I'm saying? So even people might get mad at me for saying this, but even Jesus himself wasn't perfect, right? Because he was a man at one point, and he grew up to be a man. He grew up to be in his 30s and did his pilgrimage, and then realized in the philosophy that he started teaching, you know, from a, and this is just from a research point of view, not a religious point of view, if we understand the story, right? So that's just that's just as far as I'm gonna go there. But then he was tested though, right? So um so we have to learn, you know what I'm saying, how to be humble and how to be aware in relationships. And if that job, and now remember, relationships are everywhere. It's not just your personal relationship. You have a relationship with your significant other, with your shooby dooby. You have a relationship with your kids. You have a relationship with your mom. You have a relationship with your dad. You have a relationship with your boss. You have a relationship with your coworkers, right? So these are all relationships that have to be treated fairly. If your job is what is affecting you, then guess what? Go get another job. Don't, and you be like, well, how can I do that? This job is giving me this, and I got that. For one, if you got a 401k, that can be transferred. But I tell you what, you shortening your life if you somewhere where you go to work every day, because you got to remember, you spend majority of your life once you graduate and get out of school at work. So if you somewhere stressing out where you the majority at, that's ruining your mental health as well as your physical health. And then you take it home. Remember, people don't bring your work home. That's where that saying comes from. No, don't bring your problems home from the street, because at home you're supposed to be at peace. And that's another thing. We have to make sure that our home is our haven. We have to make sure that our home is where we're at peace. So that's another reason why you make your relationships at home. You compromise and you are open and you discuss. That's the main thing. People forget the main thing about having a relationship is being able to discuss negatives and positives, not just the good things, not just being yes men, negatives and positives, listening to their problems and listening to your problems, and then maybe y'all can solve them together or whatever. That's like, you got to remember to work on these things because you're a unit. It's a real team, right? So, and then loved ones, but well, okay, but let's finish the job thing. So if the job, like I said, so I'm not saying you quit your job, but you go look for another job that makes just the same amount of money, or that you like to do it, or you might have to go retrain yourself. What's wrong with constantly learning and being a scientist to the day you die? The more you learn, the more that your mind expands. And that's another thing that we got to understand about um, depression, right? Because once you start shutting yourself down, it's a physical thing too, as well as a mental thing, right? So why would you put yourself constantly in that position? Like, I was taught at one point in my life from school, from professors and elder gentlemen, Masonic lodgemen, and things of that nature, is that they tell you, it's like, dude, when you're somewhere in your life, you got to say what's important to you. Like, we all have to pay these bills, but it comes to a point to where you have to be happy. Okay? If you're not trying to make yourself happy in life, people, then you're not going to be happy. Right? If you got an arrow and you're not shooting at a target and you ain't trying to hit nothing, you ain't going to hit nothing. Right? So you don't never give up on your goals. If you're somewhere where you don't want to be, then I got to make another goal. People are successful. The successful ones that are really successful in life set goals. And when they get those goals, they make other goals. Okay, I got to where I want to go. Now, where do I want to go from here? I got this job that I want. Now, what do I want? That manager job? Do I want this job? Or this is just a stepping stone to get to the job that I want. This is just going to give me the experience that I need. And I'm going to go get that job that I've been looking at. Or I'm going to go to do this job and go take this class to get that dream job that I want. We forget that because we're adults, that we still have dreams and aspirations. But you got to remember, we here, we got to take care of responsibilities, but part of your responsibility is taking care of your mental and physical health, not just your bills. And that's why America is the way that it is right now, because they'll keep us all on capitalism. I mean, I'm capitalism too. I'm not gonna lie. I want the dollar, but I look at money a different way than the rest of the world. I look at money as, I know I got to have money because I need it to survive, and that's the currency in this world. But I also know that money is an IOU, and it's really not nothing. It's a it's a new form of slavery. But that's a whole nother discussion on Let's Talk. You know, that's a whole different philosophy. The creation of currency. Okay, but that's why our minds are the way it is. They show, oh, you got to be skinny, you got to look good, you got to be this, you got to be that, right? You need to have this type of car, you need to have this type of house, right? So we're already subliminally programmed in our heads. So when we don't have these things, we get down and depressed on ourselves, and we make our feel worse and worse and worse. That's the first thing you need to understand, is that this society. That's why they talk about all these girls in magazines. That's what they talking about. Oh, because I got to look this way. It's more than just that. They do that the day to day life, the day to day, to go out here in society and become a part of society. I want you to understand that. But now, if you're the type of person who just wants to go get that 9 to 5 and get paid and go to work every day and raise a family and do that, then be happy. And then if you're the person who wants to go to school, learn, and then start a business and try to build an empire, do that, etc. It's whatever makes you happy. You don't have to go out there and try to be the man. Because some people are happy just living, believe it or not. They just want to be comfortable and enjoy their life and their loved ones. But the thing is, whatever your aspiration is, you have to make sure that you're shooting for that. And then you got to understand that your partner or your significant other or the people who are around you are around the same thing. That's why they say birds of a feather flock together, because you want to be around the people who are into the things that you're doing so you can go forth in that direction. Right? So right now we're talking about the things that cause depression, which is, you, like I said, I just went through a little brief summary of relationships, because relationships are really simple. It's just a biased attitude. It's just somebody who doesn't want to compromise. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. That's it. If somebody's important to you, you're going to compromise, because nobody's perfect. We all just pick the people who we can deal with and that we end up just loving for some damn reason, right? That's why they say sometimes opposites attract, right? But it's how that person treats you, how they make you feel, or whatever. But when that person starts treating you wrong, then you have to let them know and be accountable for it and make them be accountable for it. And if they're not accountable for it, then you need to go. That's the bottom line on relationships. Point blank, period. Other than that, these people just don't know how to deal with these relationships. People are going around killing over getting broken up with or whatever, or you cheated on me or whatever. Like, if you catch somebody cheating on you, you just dodged a bullet. You could have been with the motherfucker, excuse me, could have been with them for a long time, for 10, 20 years, and they could have been cheating on you for that whole time. At least now that you found out, and now they gone. Now, if you want to give somebody a second chance, because ain't nobody perfect, you may have cheated on somebody in your lifetime. You might, oh yeah, okay, I'll give you a second chance or whatever. But after that, dude, after that second chance, they still get rid of it, man. You know? Arguments don't mean that you're in a bad relationship. Arguments means, hey, you're human. We disagree. You're not supposed to be a yes man or a yes woman. We're still supposed to have our own opinions. That's how you grow as a relationship. That's how you grow as individuals and as beings to grow. Right? We are learners to the day that we die. Believe it or not. Believe it or not. The more that you find out you know, the more you find out that you don't know. There's always something, some field, some tool, something that I guarantee you somebody can show you that you know nothing about. Culture, place, something. Okay? So just remember that. Relationships is really simple. People make it hard. It's all about compromising and coming together and being there for each other. No matter what, the hard times as well as the good times. But you're supposed to be there. I say the hard times. You see how I say it backwards? Usually people say for the good times and the hard time. I say the hard times first, because good times is going to be there. Period. You have to motivate each other and nurture each other. Period. And you should always be trying to better yourself. Period. This goes back to the job. So, cause I went back and forth between them two, because I just wanted to make sure that you understand that, because it really is simple. We as human beings make a lot of things hard because of our pride. Period. Just understand that. So, but now the hard one is the loss of loved ones. The loss of loved ones is a very, very hard thing to deal with. And we all have some type of, no matter what you follow, if you do believe in something, we all still have a spiritual connection, a connection that we have with lost ones and that we feel in our inner being. Like, I believe in a higher power. I'm not really a religious person no more like I used to be. because I'm more of a researcher. You know, that's a whole different philosophy, but I do believe in a higher power. You know, I understand that all these religions all started from one book and all originated from one place. If you guys do your research on hieroglyphics, over in Africa, I think over in the Egypt region, it can be tracked all the way back to a pharaoh telling people that there's not going to be multiple gods no more, and there's only going to be one God. But like I said, that's another discussion. But I do believe in a higher power. Okay, and that connection is you know what we call the soul. Like, 'cause you miss that person, but you miss that person. You almost can hear that person. 10 years can go by, and it's like you still just saw that person yesterday. You can remember what they sound like. You can almost smell them, especially nowadays because we can take pictures and photographs, and that's the beautiful thing. Take as many pictures and photographs and videos as you can because you're still here. Your essence, we're living in spirit. It's another thing why you shouldn't want to get so depressed that you want to kill yourself, because like I said, you keep them alive by being alive, living in spirit, their memory. You keep pictures on the wall, you play videos, you show your kid this was your uncle, this was your auntie, this was your great grandma, this was, you know, right? So I want you to understand that you are not alone. You're not the only one. That's why I just read it to you. What did I say? 800,000? Let's go back. What did I what what, what did I say? 800,000? Let's let's go back to where's my script? Did I close it? Let's see. Let's go back to these numbers. 800,000 people die from suicide worldwide every year, according to bridges2recovery.com. 300 million are living with depression worldwide, and only 10% are receiving treatment. And I pause right now because I really want y'all to think about it. Think about that. The people who were just killing all these people, what was it, in Vegas at the concerts, the guys running the museums, the kids young, old, and I bet you guys did not even know, if you did your research, and all these people who just caught, they all was supposed to be clinically depressed. And they were all given pills, depression pills. The majority of them are. So I want y'all to do your research on that. It was actually an article on that, and hit me back on that and see if y'all found that, because that's very interesting. All those people that was doing those shootouts these past couple of years, little kid, older man, you know, some of that I think was just a setup. But like I said, that's another discussion for Let's Talk. But they were all clinically depressed and were all on depression medication. Remember, because it can be treated but not cured. And the reason why I emphasize on these things is because I want you to be aware. And then I'm about to go over these treatments before we close out, and the positive treatments. But to let's get back to losing our loved ones. It's hard. But like I say again, at the same time, it's easy. Because we got to remember, these are natural feelings, for one. So we shouldn't be getting, I'm worthless. I shouldn't be, I can't even, you know. I'm this, I'm worthless, I can't even, deal with it. I must be a big baby and yada 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 yada. No, this is life. But you gotta remember what makes us doesn't kill us, makes us stronger, and our loved ones would want us to keep on living, not ruining our lives. They would feel worse that they know that they made you feel like this to do what you're doing. If that logic helps you more, I want you to understand that. Really understand that. It would hurt them more. And if they're watching this, they are so sad at how we are reacting to something that we can't control in life, period. None of us know when we're going to go. I get depressed about me putting on weight from getting hurt and having 6 surgeries and constantly have to retrain myself over and over and over again. But it's life. Things happen. And we have to take charge to counteract these things. So I can sit there and be mad about it, or I can say, well, what can I do to slim down a little bit? I know the things that I can't do, but what can I do? Because I know if you do nothing, it leads to nothing. But if you can do a little bit every day at a time, that adds up to something big, baby. Because you keep working on it. So, like I said, whatever you need to do, have your pictures around. Do not forget them, but live for them. Make that your motivation. Make that what you strive for every day. Make that keep you from having them suicidal thoughts. Make that keep you from being depressed week after week after week. And use that as a strengthening to get you to a higher road. Let that job that you feel that's a dead end job and that's not taking you where, and you know what, they should have gave you that manager's position 2 years ago, but they keep giving it to the next person and then in the next person. Well, you're not appreciated there. Guess what? Get another job. And if you feel that you should have the manager job for that job, you know what that means? That means you have experience to get another job somewhere else. So look for that manager's job while you're there. And then when you get that job, say, hey, and use that sick time or call in or whatever you got PTO to go to that interview. And when you get that job, be like, hey, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have my 2 week notice. I gotta go to work. Sorry, I quit. I just got hired as a manager at this job over here. Thank you for the time and giving me the experience that I needed. It's been a pleasure. And then go. You know how they gonna look? Manager, job. I gave you experience. Then they're gonna be mad because they looked right over you. Just look as an experience. This job is not the job that I plan on dying, retiring with, or dying with for the rest of my life. This job is just the job that I gotta deal with because it's a step to get me to the next step. Awareness. This is how we counteract these things and these feelings to not control our life. So I want you to psychologically counteract that. Okay? Like I said, in relationships, you have to work in relationships. You have to talk. If you can't talk, then you have to. I'm telling you, oh, I can't talk to you. Leave. You just gonna have to work on talking. Okay? That's why they have the family counseling type of thing. Is because really you just need to talk and listen, but sometimes they need somebody on the outside to listen because people have bias. Even the nicest people have biased thoughts. They want things their way instead of compromising Are you guys putting both of your ideas together and coming up with something better? Is what can happen the majority of the time if you guys sit and listen. A lot of times people are arguing about the same thing that they agree on. You just learned it differently. It's just like a software program. These audio programs, these video programs, Photoshop, all these things, these illustration. It's like a million ways to do the same damn thing. Just remember that. So just remember this, because you say one way is right and he say one way is right, and both of y'all think the other one is wrong, but at the same time, both of y'all could be right. Y'all two just learned two different ways to do it. And now you can probably collaborate together and do something else. Great. In any relationship. Like I said, whether it be your loved one, friends, family, or whatever. Okay? So that's the first thing we want you to do. So I want you to be aware. I want you to be aware. I want you to understand if you're just sad or if you're depressed. And if you're depressed, what is making you depressed? You have to find out what it actually is that is making you so upset. And you have to work it out. That's what problem solving was that they've been teaching us since elementary. It's not just math, it's actually problem solving, critical thinking that we're all capable of doing. We just have to focus on being aware and then focus on emotions, which is also another that discussion that we could talk about, how emotions and pride affect us as human beings, the celestial beings that we are, because we are celestial beings, believe it or not, because we're on a rock floating in outer space. But I want you guys to understand, being aware is the main and first important thing. That's what we're going to call it, the ABCs of the big D, the ABCs of depression. And A is first because A is the perfect, because awareness is what it is. You have to be aware. Aware of any problem, not just depression, of any problem. And you have to find out what that problem is and work on it. You only as strong as your weakest link, yada yada yada. That's what that means. You always work on your weaknesses more than you do your strengths. Because your strengths, that's muscle memory. That's in your brain. You do it like breathing. It's without trying. So you always do that and mature that and cater that and add swag to that. It's those things that you have a problem with, you're supposed to be spending the majority of the time on. Remember that. But hopefully this is being helpful to you, so you can understand that you're not alone. That this is a problem that's out there in the world, and that it's a true sickness. Okay, and that you can counteract it, and that you can treat it, and that don't think that it's ever going to go away, because once you let that thing in, it's in. So it's about learning how to treat it. So everybody at some point or form in their life really does have depression. Some people just need to learn how to handle it. Some people can just do it naturally. They have a, you know, you know, more family, more things like that. Like when you got family, sometimes that's a plus because you have other people to help you out. Sometimes when you're alone, it's hard to find that structure. And that's another thing. If you're depressed because you're alone, like you have to put yourself out there. Even if you feel you're fat, even if you feel you're ugly, even if you feel whatever, you have to be yourself, and you have to go out in the world to be social. Not just work, social at work. Like you have to do things. Like me, I call myself the lone wolf. I call myself Bajini the lone wolf because at one point I used to, have friends, but then it came to a point where I was just by myself. But that's okay because that's who I am. You know, I was born. I got half brothers and sisters that I never met. I got step brothers and sisters who were really older than me. So they were like cousins I got to see every now and then or whatever, but they were grown when I was six. They was probably like in their 30s or something like that. I mean, well, teenager, not all of them, but you know what I'm saying. So, um, but you got to be social. They have social clubs. They have, you know, whatever you have to do, whatever your hobby is. Best thing to do is if you want to find somebody who does the things you like, go join. It sounds nerdy, whatever you want to call it, but go join a club. Go join a social club. Go join an organization. Go do things, the things that you like, and then I guarantee you will find people who like the same things that you're doing because they're doing the same thing. And that's how you intertwine. And then you meet them in your personality, and y'all just click. And then, oh, I tripped into it. Oh, I fell into some what? Next thing I know, I just loving him. You feel what I'm saying? That's just how shit works. Excuse my French. Because the chemistry is there. All right. So if that's what it is, you got to go out there. Look, people like don't just go to the damn club or the bar. One thing about the club or the bar, like I always said when I grew up, like I used to like to dance and call myself a b-boy or whatever. But when you get older and you go to the bar, everybody's just going there to get something. So you got to understand that people are there to get laid. It's not really oh, I'm really looking for a relationship. I mean, some relationships may do come out the club, but the only thing that's really come out of the club or a bar is somebody trying to get laid. Okay, and if that's the main thing on your mind, then sometimes it's not gonna work. I don't know too many relationships personally that have lasted from when people saying, "Oh yeah, I met your mother at a club at a disco night and whatever." Nah, it's like you meet somebody, then y'all can go to the club. Them relationships last, but somebody meeting somebody in the club to pick up to go home to have some fun, I never last. Unless it's the knock up like the movie that dude did. You go to get her pregnant and she keeping it. And then yeah, that's somebody you have to deal with. And then who knows? And then it might work out. Because some arranged marriages work out, some don't. You know, but we're talking about percentages. Percentages here. Majority of the time, it's not going to be what you want it to be. Okay. So I'm gonna leave it right here. So now let's go to treatment. Remember, it can be treated but not cured. Why? Because we're always going to get sad. It's when you let those sadness and those grievements affect you for long periods of time. Remember, like what we said, right? Like for 2 weeks or more. Like, are you going to feel sad? You're going to grieve? You're going to feel like it's the end of the world? They even said you even might have thoughts of killing yourself, but that's still not depression because those are actual regular thoughts. It's when you plot on killing yourself and think about it, and we think about these for strictly straight long periods of time for 2 weeks or more, right? So, like I said, so we all know they want to treat you with medication. Right, they always want to treat you with medication. They got psychotherapy, which is talking, like what we're doing right now. This is a form of talking. Psychotherapy. Then they got electro. What is it? Convolusive therapy. Okay, is a medical treatment that has been most commonly reserved for the patients with severe major depression who have not responded to their treatments. It involves a brief electrical stimulation of the brain while the patient is under anesthesia. Basically, they're shocking you while you're knocked out. Okay. Now, psychotherapy is talk therapy. It's basically, like I said, it's what we're doing right now. We're talking it out. So somebody, and you're talking with somebody who relates with you because I actually been there. I don't sympathize. I actually relate with you because I've been there and I've been fighting depression for 10 years. I'm a 10-year survivor with depression. Okay, so just to let you just to let you know that. Like I said, I'll be sharing things from time to time. Now we already know about medication, and that's brain chemistry. Now, why would you want to do brain chemistry, take medication that has side effects, especially if you kill yourself. I always say this when I hear these commercials. You tell me, I'm telling you that I'm depressed. I'm telling you having thoughts of suicide. Then you give me a medication that what? Increases the thoughts of suicide. And again, remember all these people who I was telling you that was getting caught. I mean, getting caught shooting, doing these shootouts and just killing people, kids and the old dude in Vegas and going to the school were all clinically depressed people who were on what? Medication. I just want you to understand. I just want you to understand, people. And then, like I said, and then electrical there, but who the hell wants to be electrocuted? You're shocking your brain while you're knocked out. Somebody's going to shock you while you're knocked out. Okay. Okay. Well, like, we don't even want to go into the many possibilities and the severities of that. So, like I said, psychotherapy would be the only safe one to talk about it. And guess what's the next major one out of that? Self-help and coping. Those are the two I like. Think you will always need somebody to talk to. It doesn't have to be a therapist. It can be your boy Vaj Unique. It can be your girlfriend. It can be your kids. It can be your mama. It can be your daddy. Whoever you close to, the person who you open up with, your BFF. That's psychotherapy. That's why we have these friends. That's why we miss these people when they're gone, people. Be aware. All right? Because, like I said, we have these connections, self help. So, like I said, you do things like listen to podcasts, read self help books. You know what I'm saying? Talk. But guess what? Exercise. Exercise not only helps with depression, exercise helps with stress. It increases the blood flow and it increases the oxygen to your brain and to your mind, which also opens up, gives you electrolytes, and it helps what makes you feel good about yourself. Even when I'm big, I'm heavy as shit. But when I go to the gym and I work out, I feel good like I'm slim or something. But it makes me feel good because you feel good. I'm working out, I'm moving my body, I'm getting blood flow, my heart is beating good. Is strengthening and my mind is being cleared. Okay? Remember that. So it's more than just putting on muscle. You ain't even got to put on muscle. Just go walk for a half hour, randomly up hills and shit, and get that BPM heart rate up so you start sweating and you start thinking clearly. Eat a little bit better. I'm not saying to stop, it ain't got to be no serious diet. Eat a little better. Just make a couple of more healthy choices. Don't eat the burrito and the tacos every time. Every time do your day, every now and then, eat some healthy. Eat that salad for the lunch or, you know what I'm saying? Or eat that salad for the snack. And instead of grabbing a soda, grab a vitamin water or a green machine smoothie naked every now and then. You know what I'm saying? It's like you ain't got to truly, it's the small things to help yourself feel good about yourself. These are things that you have to do. You have to get out and then and set goals. Get a planner and set goals in the schedule to work out and try to help yourself eat healthy. You feel what I'm saying? So that's how you treat it. So just gave you the ways to treat it, but the best ways I think is psychotherapy and self-help and coping, to be able to talk to somebody, to read self-help books, to educate yourself about depression. Okay. And like I said, there are many, all you got to do is Google depression, and there are many sites. This is how I get my information from all these clinical sites, WebMD, depression statistics, and things like that nature. The CDC even has articles on depression. The CDC, because it's a disease, and that they make medication for. Okay, so that's it, man. That's the first part of the ABCs, the big D. Remember, A is for awareness. Okay, and thank you. This is the first show of Let's Talk with your host Vaj Unique. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. And I hope to see you on the next one. We're gonna try to release these every Sunday. So every Sunday, I'm gonna do it once a week. Let's Talk. All right, and check in for part 2 of the ABCs, and we're gonna work on B. All right. So have a good one. It's your boy Vaj Unique, and this has been Let's Talk, and I'm out.